Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gaming with Blockchain. I am your host, A and we are redoing basically the session that we had earlier. Um, I had some technical glitches, so unfortunately, that last stream that I was looking to post had to be deleted. And so at this moment, I'm just gonna be working on some video content, uploading the video, and we'll eventually get back to the live stream shortly. And the live stream, again, hopefully, as everyone review some of these videos can see what's happening, get on board in time for these live streams. We're all collaborating. We have an ideas. You have discussions. You have opinions. Any thoughts will be great. But right now, just because there's so much that's been happening behind the scenes, and it's been a while since I've been able to get a video online because there's just so much content. I thought it best just okay. You know what? Let me just do the video and move from there. So the last time we were looking at the end of the neighborhood sandbox wars. These were the battles that were going on to build properties in particular neighborhoods. And at the time, we had three contenders. That was Panhandle, Merce Manor, and Dogpatch, all coming in first, second, and third, respectively. Right now, there was the battle for neighborhoods, or not neighborhoods, for individual players in the city of Fresno. This is where I am right now. I'm in the city of Fresno, and I came here to build a llama. Now, unfortunately, because like I said, because of the last glitch in the stream, the builds were happening, and we it will be ending as of the next few hours, I would say, or if it has been done already. So yes, it's now complete, and we already have the piece within, and who's the first place winner. And this is what we have. We have B Dag as the first place winner in this particular category, and you can see how everyone's stacked up afterwards. So unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get a chance to proceed and show you how this was coming along. But what I wanted to show you now is that we're going to provide more details on what's happening in the game. But first, I have to send myself back to San Francisco, because what's going to happen at this point is that San Francisco is going to start their competition called the Llamageddon. So I'm just going to go now, send off my Explorer on the train, because as if you recall from any previous videos, to go to between cities is time and a cost, like in real life. Remember, Upland is simulating real life, so I have to buy a fare to send myself to a terminal, and from that terminal, I have to then book my train. So right now I'm going to receive the request to put in my code, which is always safe and handy. And then from there, I'm now going to book a train ride to San Francisco. Whoops. So here we go. Book one standard train ride. It'll cost me 95 UpX. And off I'm now onboarded to head over to San Francisco. Now, over time, as these features start to increase, you saw, and if you notice, there was a standard time. And what's going to show and display is that my standard time will take approximately, if I recall, 25 minutes or 24 minutes. Oh, there, 25 minutes. Eventually, these travel times can be upgraded. You'll be able to pay for a a higher class ride, maybe a slightly more direct ride, a faster ride. These are features that are looking to be implemented over some time. Now you can see the train is about to embark. You can see it's traveling. It's traveling at a relative rate and speed comparison to real-time travel. And you'll see later on, we'll come back and you'll see where it will be midway in a certain process point. But now back in Fresno, as I said, what we were looking at was some of the builds that everyone was creating. And you can see that some of these structures here had provided different viewpoints And I finally got this arrow thing to work in how the structure turned out and what you can see and what you like in 3D space. Moving forward now, we will be doing the same thing in San Francisco. And we'll see what's happening here. But also too, what I want to highlight, because there's so many different things happening in Upland, one of the major factors will be all these new protocols or new plans for 2021. But we're going to head to San Francisco first. So I'm not physically there yet. As you can see, my train is, let me see where it is now. It's still not even about halfway. No, not halfway yet. So we're going to head to San Francisco because I want a lot of features I want to discuss are in this city. Now you can see that if you go back to the competition that was happening, I want to show you what those nice great rewards were. So we're going to look at Panhandle. Remember, Panhandle was was the first neighborhood to win in first place and the first challenge. And so we're in Panhandle, and they have a nice little, where is it? There we go. This Spud statue, and I'll show you what it is on the screen, and it will rotate around it. That is the Spud statue that won for the first place. There'll be two others coming in later on for Dogpatch and for Immerse Manor. But the point of all these competitions is that neighborhood rankings are going to be taking place. So how well the neighborhood is, recruiting their members, how well the neighborhood is developing in light of the new features that the game releases. All these things will help bring neighborhoods into a different status realm. So like leaderboards for players, you'll have neighborhood leaderboards, if you will. So we'll take a look at what this feature is, and you can see this is where the Spud Wars 2021 neighborhood wars have ranked, and you see the list as I had shown you in the actual static image, all the neighborhoods that participated and their positions in standings of the top 10. So you got first place there, and you can see as it's happening, you can see all the other block explorers floating around. Now these are features that will enhance the gameplay over time, because this is something people would like to do. It's an innate need for competition and an ability to have friendly competition in that sense. Now with that happening, we have this great how would you say, I don't even know how to describe it, outlook for the upcoming year of 2021. Upland has created this long list of features that are looking to come along and help Upland enhance the gameplay, bring in what a lot of people are looking for, other ways to earn or create more marketable features. So we had to touch base a bit on the business license, and remember that was something that you had to get from City Hall. The main area in which you can achieve information is in City Hall. So I can't show that to you right now because I'm not in San Francisco. I'm out of range. But if you looked at any of my earlier videos, you'll see once I arrived at City Hall, I entered City Hall, and there's a list of options on which I can do. And one of them was to register for the Fiat out. The Fiat out means that you can sell a property or structure or a property and land and sell it for actual US dollars. So that's now being rolled out even more aggressively. They're up to a total of 100. Again, something that was in my previous videos as well, if you'd like to get more details there. The other thing that they're bringing in is now the ability for players to join together as their resources and pool their resources. So let's say, oh, this is a cool explorer, check that guy out. Let's say I wanted to pool with another player, or a player wants to pool with me, and buy larger structures or buy more structures, then this is a way in which these dynamics can be played out. So that's another great feature that's coming into Upland as well in the coming months, within maybe a year, year and a half. Now moving forward, we have the gallery. So in a particular location, if I were to say I want to build a gallery on this particular spot, if the gallery size meets, or I should say, if the property size meets the minimum requirements for a gallery, I can build a gallery, and those galleries now can bring in or be decorated with artwork or other items. That is now one of the other bonuses that, again, a lot of Upland players are looking for. And the two, in terms of the businesses, two new businesses are going to being developed or ready to be launched. And one of those businesses will be the Block Explorer. So you're going to have a library or a catalog of custom block explorers that could be bought and sold and designed independently. So aside from just Upland creating these block explorers, I remember I said it's about a certain style that Upland is looking to achieve. Upland is now creating their own style of let's say, block explorer accessories, maybe block explorer icons, block explorer elements. Those are the things that are now being constructed, and that's going to be a marketplace. That's going to be a design place. So artists, if you're into that style and this is that kind of mold, these are probably great opportunities for you to consider. Or again, you can always let me know, and we can find out what we can do. The other option that's going to be coming in is outdoor. So as we're building structures right now, what we also want to see is the ability to have decor, outdoor decor. So it could be anything. And I'm trying to find. We had a explorer that was like a tree, and that would have been really cool. And I'm trying to find that right now. Oh, look at this cool explorer here. I'm gonna Looks like a Hot Wheels car. Pretty cool. Double helicopters. That's funny. Triple, in fact. There we go. Here's our tree. So now imagine that we have businesses that are now going to be tailored to items that are outside. Now the trees may not be included because those are organics, and that's another feature that's coming in. I'll lead into that in a moment. But a bench, lighting, signage. Maybe you have all these other elements that come to the decor of a particular spot or particular area that you wish to achieve. Aside from that as well, there's a new token that's going to be coming in, possibly even two tokens, and one being the Spark token, which is going to help with non-organic build structures, and then another token that has yet to be named. So again, there's just so much coming into the space that it's mind blowing. I'll even show you this article. I'll show you the page. So I'll put this in the notes that you can look at. And this is all the things that are coming in with the idea for Upland moving forward. And I'm going probably in the wrong direction because I had this open prior, but you can see it's just a long list of initiatives that they're hoping to achieve within a certain timeline. I'm not saying it again. They're not going to be the ones who guarantee a time and date, but these are hopeful targets. And you can, if you've seen scrolling down, another part is the car NFT. So now we imagine we may have cars in here. Again, another manner or way of which to travel and possibly car racing. There's options now that we bring in arcades to the realm too, and so the players can, while they're in the game, they can play in an arcade feature. We're gonna have our cafes. So there's a lot of little details that will bring in a definite more player engagement in this feature here. Now the other thing we want to look at is that in doing so, we want to bring in also NFTs from outside the game itself, and that's another feature that they're going to be implementing too. I can have an NFT that comes in from Oh, the artwork from Seahorse. It was another great artist that I found on Twitter, and they do seahorses, which is ironic. Oh, my icon's a seahorse, or other artists that I can curate and say, okay, this is just great work, and I want to showcase that. Um, I'm just excited for it. I've been excited for this game for many months, practically almost years to this extent. It's been a long ride from since almost the beginning, and it's unfortunate I don't have the screenshots from where what their game looked like from the start to what it is now, and you'll be interesting to see such development happen. Now, what does this all mean over time is that as the game grows and the structure base intensifies, then you're bringing in markets and developers from all over to participate in the structure. So as it's mentioned in Upland, it's just an expansion and a growth feature to bring in as many compartments as possibly that we can. So now what's going to happen here in San Francisco and is that now the gameplay for building is happening here. It's happening between, again, like Fresno, players only. There's no neighborhoods. It's just purely players that are deciding, okay, I'm going to build how many properties I can, as many properties I can, as quickly as I can. Because unlike the neighborhood wars, everyone was stuck to build in a particular neighborhood. Everyone was allocated a different amount of spud, and that is the building token to create your structure that determines how fast your structure also is built. And that created, I guess, a little bit of a headache. It slowed down some paces as well. This time around, they decided that everyone starts at the same amount of spud, so everyone starts at 4. And it's just a matter of build as much as you can to your heart's content, however you like to. So we will get to that in a moment, but I also want to show you some features that a lot of games now that are bringing into the their game mechanics as well, but also to help you understand where Upland stats are. And again, it's just about information, because if you are looking to play these games, and I put it in a very italic, underline, open parentheses, close parentheses, investment. You want to know your numbers. You probably want to know what's going on. You want to know if the game has any true growth. So we're going to take a look at that radar. That radar is like a ranking system, and it shows based on different blockchains where the game statuses lie. So we're looking at EOS, and in the EOS chain, Upland has been in first position. It is ranking a user base of about 7.6 players, and it has been growing steadily. Sometimes it has a slight decline, sometimes a growth rate. So it has its new numbers as it moves forward. It's still relatively new, so compared to prospectors, which has been around maybe 2 or 3 years more than Upland, the bounce values are different, but the user base is again a different volume as well. So it is really about understanding the game, playing the game, and then seeing if you like it. I'm not doing comparisons of which game's better, which game's worse. It's more of really feeling the game and seeing, okay, what's the potential here? What can I really do in this space? And enjoying it. Like if you don't enjoy it, then you're not gonna have much fun at all, anyways. So then the other factor information I want to show you here is the data. This it was created by a player. You see him, we call him the Green Pickle, and he has, and with his team, created the data matrix that pulls all information from the Upland blockchain and gives it into a visual guide and helps users determine what's going on. So if you're looking at it right now, you're seeing uh, the treasure hunt using property distribution, and where, if I were to play the treasure hunt, which I don't, I'm sorry, I'm just really bad at it. If I wanted to now try to determine, okay, what's my access points, and then I can facilitate some areas and go, okay, maybe I should tackle here, or maybe I should try to find my treasure points here, if you will. But other tools they have as well And I'll go into the main stats where we go. So we could do, city search. So let's go into city. I'm ready in San Francisco. You can see what the total supply of the city is. So you have an idea of what is going on for that area. And it's okay, is it worth it for me to invest in this area or pay in this area or play? However, that's up to you. You can look at what's left to be purchased, what's on the market percent wise, and we still know what's locked. And I had mentioned what locked means. The game reserves certain properties for their own initiatives, and which is again normal. It does usually happen, and it's either because it's going to be given away for a prize, it's used for game structure. So like the city hall, that was something that the game reserved for purpose development of, again, like the business license and Fiat out and all these other features. Now here you can get a look at what's happening in the price market. So you can see if I want sale price, I want based on market price, and I can get percentages of what's been in place. So 7.6 to 6.7 USD. So it's telling you the USD price and tells you what the market potential has been, and if it's in a collection, so you can look at the collections and you can see the collection variables that are here. And this is fantastic data that if you were really keen on addressing a sales database portfolio guide, this will give you these numbers. These will give you ranges. So if I have a property in the Mission neighborhood, what's now the price points that I could sell it at, what's been selling. If I want to buy, what's the market price I might likely be end up to spend, and whatnot. And it gives you some input there. Then you can look by, let me see, was this area? Yeah, size. If you want, who owns it, again, if it's part of the collection, the price per UpX, and you can see some are within range, some are significantly higher, and it's data that you can pull. Excuse me there. His throat's getting a little dry. Then you can look at unminted. If you're looking for unminted locations and you're keen on unminted locations, you can find some. You can decide what your price point is. And if I can go for the lowest price, I'm wondering if I can do it here. See if we do sale price unminted. And there we go. I have an ascending order. You can see this is now the lowest price in the Upland catalog for San Francisco. And so you can see right now, from the time I started, the lowest price has leaped literally 3,000, 4,000%, because before you were able to buy properties under 1,000 UpX. You were fortunate to buy properties under 1,000 UpX. So I can tell you that then the market change has been dramatic in terms of what the entry point is at this time. So if you're looking to, again, looking to join in, I always recommend for new players, definitely go for unminted as much as you can. It's going to be beneficial. But if you're looking at also from a strategic standpoint in terms of development or development opportunities, excuse me, and how quickly things can move along, if you can, then you want to do San Francisco. San Francisco is going to implement all these new features first. Everything I mentioned earlier that was in the objections for 2021 are all going to happen in San Francisco before it happens in Fresno and before it happens in Manhattan. But we could take a look. Let's take a look at Manhattan. What's their status points that they have right now? And if I look at, let's see, we want to do. There we go. So we know for Manhattan, the total properties that they have is just under 45,000. We know they're just on the halfway mark of where they're standing in sales. Now, their entry point is slightly higher, which makes sense. Again, Manhattan's a far more expensive city than San Francisco, but I can also tell you that entry point was lower maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So the land the development and price points do change. Now let's say okay, Fresno. We look at Fresno right now. Fresno is 153. They have already minted 124. They're just under 20,000 left to completely say the city's sold out, and that's not going to take long. Then these price points you can see are significantly smaller. So, which means then the market price and markup sales were not going to be as significant because again, it's a different city. So it's like real life, you know, if you go to a major city and then you go to a different city, maybe 3 or 4 hours away, the demand value, the infrastructure costs, everything else associated to such a large district versus a smaller one will pay out. The prices will be a little different. So this is all information that is accessible to every player. This is not locked for any one player versus another. This is information that's attainable, that it's easy for anyone to take a look at, anyone to do their own assessments and review. It's fantastic data. You can look into it and determine what is going on in the market of Upland, what is happening, what do I need to do if I want to move forward. If you're into the treasure hunts, you have that information there as well. You can look into treasure hunts and you see if there's been a pattern or what your odds are in determining to try to play it. Data graphs, these are the let me see if I remember which ones. Oh yeah, these are just the graph information for the information that you have been looking at. Fiat sales, you can look at the Fiat sales, and this is what it was as of the it's about 2 days ago, or yesterday. We were on the 29th today. So yesterday you had 30 Fiat sales that are out at the peak. Just after last week you had 35. So this is showing that there's interest in this particular market, and this is based on around the first 100 people right now, 100 players. So these numbers are going to change. If you look at the visits per day, again, how many visits have been spread throughout the gameplay? How many people have been hitting other properties to again either purchase another property for treasure hunts, whatever reasoning that they did. You can see that what had the visits numbers that have been applied for that day, what has happened the last week being again the highest volume of visits. Then you can see one of the lowest. Don't know why. You can probably look at the date. Maybe something happened glitch-wise. Maybe it was an error. Player couldn't have any access. You, again, get a sense. Let me see. And I think this was a mint graph. What's been minted and how fast the minting. So we had a high peak of minting properties in last week, and then we are back down to our relatively low that was the same just before the end of the year last 2020. So again, it gives you waves, it gives you information that can help you if you need to make your decision, to help you with your decisions. So let's see where I am on my train ride and determine, oh, look at that, I am just about to arrive. And now I'm going to get the animation because I want to see if the build feature has been launched, and maybe that has been delayed because we were supposed to. I am about to disembark, which is great. And now I've been and arrived in San Francisco. And this is the kind of things that you'll be doing in your gameplay. So again, it's a lot about planning. What is your plan? It's really thinking the ideas through and gradually building and collaborating. Like it doesn't hurt to reach out and say, okay, can you help me with this? Or this is what I'm thinking about. Discord is going to be doing that feature, but we're also looking at ways to have that implemented in the game. So as players are in the game, we can send messages and dialogues and questions. So I hope all this is being helpful. So the other thing we want to show, and as I said, I guess the build features hasn't been implemented. It's supposed to start today, so it's probably starting tomorrow. And because I want to show you a build, but I'll see if I can show you some information here. Again, you're coming on for the first time. I'll go through this quickly. This is your send costs, your rent that you receive when people land on your property and need to use your property for a landing spot. This is the amount of people who have come to your property. This is the information that shows you when these transactions has happened. You as owner, it shows the owner of the property, the price that you've paid if it's your property, and you won't see that from someone else's property unless they're selling. The size of the UPEX, and that's something I'll get into in a moment. Do more if you want to sell. This is the sell button you put in. You send if you're sending to that location. Your treasure hunts. This is indicators of if you are close or not with the treasure hunts, and build in the build feature. The street, if you want to do a street view. Again, this again shows me the location. Now, I'm not going to mention anything about the name here, but this is a kind of apartment building that you want to look at, and can change in the future. Who knows? Remember, I don't have to build an apartment building. I can build whatever structure I want. This is only telling me that this apartment or this lot is mapped to this location, not necessarily the structure, because the structure could be anything you want. This now tells me the collections. Again, we went into the collections again in previous episodes, so I won't repeat that here, but it shows me all the collections that I can join this to be part of. Okay, and we'll give us time to clear out. And then this will show me the title. So the title is on the blockchain, and we go into the blockchain, and I showed that in previous streams as well, and maybe in the future I'll do that again when we do a live stream. I can go into blockchain and extract where this transaction has happened. Now, what I want to show you is that the UPEX. See these little gray grids. This is what determines the size of your lot in relation to the real world. Each square is about just under 10 square feet, based on an UPEX 3x3. These are the squares that now, if it was transparent, will be mapped underneath this grid. So this property had 74 up squared, and in calculation that we have to determine how many of those are underneath this grid. So I'm partially under here, maybe fully here. I got probably 2 full squares there, definitely not full square as I'm cutting into this particular section here, and count. So this is, how many of these squares meet this particular block or particular landmark in calculation of their land space or lot space. It's a little tricky. It's not difficult to determine, but you can see how the grid is laid out to make the calculations for what is the UPEX size. Now, would it be possible for me to show you a build just for the sake of doing that? Let's find out. So I'm going to go to another location. I'm going to want to determine the features that will be coming in. So when next time we show this, we'll be doing as many builds as we can. So let's see if we can do a build here. So you can see this is 35. Am I in the 35? Am I hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Ooh, 7 and 4. So 28, and then give or take whatever the offcuts are there. I may hit 35. Again, there's the calculation algorithms to do that are very, very specific. But you can see this is now in a boosting because it has a little icon in green. I've boosted earnings on this calculation, so it means I'm likely in the Pacific Heights. I likely selected that because it's giving me a higher return. But who knows? I could be in a City Pro or a newbie as well. As long as I'm in a collection, then this value changes and turns into green. I have an enhancement in my UpX yield. Now, unfortunately, the construction is currently unavailable for the city, so that means they still haven't wrapped up the Fresno, and we'll have to wait. So there's a slight delay for the San Francisco build, and that'll have to come in at another time. But what I can do, and just to wrap up, let's do a buy. So I'm going to go to my area here, and let's determine a buy. Yeah, well, let's do a little bit of rotation because the orientation here is a little different than I remember. There we go. This is the orientation I like. And we're going to do a buy. So you can change your orientation and sometimes end up screwing you up a bit. So this is the value now that I have in the bank. And this is the value that has been collected. It's not in my bank, it's just been collected. So I'm going to collect this now. And I say collect all earnings, and this gives you all what's been happening. So some of these earnings earned rent. Some of these properties earned rent, as you can see, right? Which gives it extra value, and some properties have not. And that's just how it happens. Not all the time you will receive earnings, and not all the times you will receive rent. You always receive your earnings, but not necessarily receive rent. So now it's been in place. I now have to wait extra 14 minutes to start collecting again. Now with that value, I'm going to buy some more of the properties here. I'm trying to achieve this particular block because there's other project ideas that I have in development in the background that I want to be able to support certain initiatives definitely. There's more to come. There's a lot of gradual builds as we move along, and this is great for like I said, if you're in a designer. The best way I could describe Upland to me, when people ask, I said think of SimCity meets Civilization. If you can imagine these two worlds just coming together, if you've ever played any of those two games, then you're just at the cusp of it. Then you can add games like Restaurant Tycoon, possibly to that equation as well. So it's an enhancement feature now. If you, and then imagine all the artwork, all the design, all the programming, all the features that go along with these game structures. You can see where it's going, and if you bring in e-commerce or commerce to it as well. So it's a threshold. It is the options that we're looking to develop here. So I am going to buy now another structure here. So I'm not near it, so it's not showing me that I'm allowed to because I'm not near it, and that's one of the things that you'll see in my previous video. So I have to send to it. So I'm just going to send there. Confirm my send. And now I'm going to buy. So I'm going to buy maybe 2 because it will determine what I have left in my UpX. And because I'm now in a new city, my code has to be entered in. It's going to say I'm the owner. Close, close. And then I'm going to buy this particular location. I'll wait until I can again recoup another balance enough. I like to buy in twos, or depending if I'm in Fresno, you know, and probably buying property there as well. So I like to have this accumulate a bit more before I do the next purchase. And this was an interesting one. I should look into that, but we'll see where that pans out uh, in a few days or a few hours. It really depends. So sometimes what you want to do too, that is a strategy, is that you don't always want to put money in, actual dollars in. And if you just do the right strategy, you accumulate enough, then those earnings can then be traded off in order to buy whatever properties you like. So that being said, I'm hoping that you enjoy this particular video. Like I said, I'm doing this in a few of these videos in the meantime, just to get things going, because there's been so much information happening. I'm introducing another game as well, and it's all about helping individuals, helping people who are not aware of this other dynamic in the gameplay atmosphere to play and earn, and even ways to educate this new, I would say, micro-economy, is if it's one way to illustrate that. So I like, hopefully you stay tuned. Definitely, you know, come in, sign up, follow and share. There'll be more information coming through, additional content. Things are rolling out. There's an AMA that was happening today. I'll show that in the show links as well. There's going a live question from the player base. And they'll be questioning and ask questions about the development features that was released in the 2021 roadmap. So I'll add that to the show notes too, so that if you once you see the videos, you can go in online, you can see what's happening, and definitely just let me know if you have any questions, and it will be great to receive any feedback, any questions you may have, and hopefully you enjoy the game. And so until next time, stay tuned, and we'll touch base. Take care.